Good morning, happy Thursday, and welcome to Market of the Moment. We are live. After the last 2 weeks, we had the fun of showing our Inman conversations, and we had some great video from that. So if you've not watched that video, go back on our timelines and check it out. Sharon and I crashed the stage at Inman. We Sharon almost got arrested. It was crazy. No, but we had a great time. We had some great conversations, and we're able to dig in with some amazing people at Inman, and just some really great content around that. Also, we would like to thank all of you veterans out there and those of you who are currently serving for your service, and wish you a happy Veterans Day. And I know everybody on this panel feels the same about how deeply we appreciate your service and what you've done for our country. So big shout out to you and thank you so much. I was actually talking before we went live, and we're live today, and then next week we have a big event, and we'll be bringing you some great information from that event. But then the following week is Thanksgiving, and so we're probably not going. And my dog wants to say hi to everybody as well. But next week, good job, Mindy. Thank you for reaching out to Ace. I think he doesn't even know I'm here. I snuck in, and he doesn't know I'm in the house. But so we won't. December 2nd will be our next Facebook Live outside of the Women in Leadership event. And Mindy and Sharon are going to be doing an amazing job next Thursday, hosting this great panel of leaders in our business. And I want to bring up this where it
flyer.
Yeah, except for now I seem to have lost it.
Your sentences, I love it.
Yeah.
We've been in business together long enough, right, guys? We can do
exactly.
that. No, but this is going to be an awesome event. So while you find the flyer, I'll just give a quick little preview. It's going to be next Thursday, at Parlay Kitchen and Cocktails in Chandler. And I'm super excited about this because we took our quarterly Women in Leadership series that we've been hosting with Amy Jones Group at Parlay and have turned it into a real estate edition, which is going to be focused on talking to women about big leaders in the real estate space who are living big lives and also creating big businesses. So we've got an awesome panel you can see up on the screen. These amazing women have all different perspectives, walk all different types of walks in this life, and you are sure to take away something incredible. So we've got some really great sponsors. A huge thank you to Dan, who is on this call with Fairway Independent Mortgage, obviously hosted by our friends over at Fidelity National Title. And we're also going to be taking donations for Positive Paths, which is an organization that serves the women here in the East Valley, helping them to move to their next phase of their journey, whether it's through education, through work opportunities or internship opportunities. It's a really incredible program. So I'm super excited for next week. And I know that we have spots left, but they will be limited at some point. So please, please, please sign up as soon as you can.
Yeah, and actually I am trying to cut and paste the link right now into our comments on this Facebook Live. So
and guys, you're not going to want to miss this. I know each and every one of these women for many years, and their stories are just phenomenal, and their experiences, their knowledge of the industry. So this is going to be fun. This is going to be a great, great, great morning. You're not going to want to miss it.
It's going to be super cool.
Yeah, that is one heck of a lineup, I've got to say. That's
right.
Really, yeah,
it's so good.
Yeah, and it's really like, just, I don't know, as we put this together, and we actually tried doing this a couple of months ago. We ran into a couple of bumps in the road right before the event, and we had to postpone it. And we're so fortunate to have these ladies be available this weekend to join us. And it's amazing the amount of ways that somebody can be successful in this business. And we're going to hear so much of that. So I'm so excited for it. We'll be there. We'll be bringing parts of the event live on Facebook through Market of the Moment, and So we're excited to do that as well. So make sure that you get registered. In the comments on the Facebook on this stream right now is the link to get registered. I just had it up on the screen for a couple of minutes. If you have any issues with any of those, reach out to myself, to Mindy, to Sharon, to Dan, even Ty will help you get registered. And so it's going to be a great event. So looking forward to it. So
for sure.
Yeah. So okay. Well, and we just kind of jumped into that before I even finished all of our introductions. But I told Mindy, I'm like, I get rolling sometimes and I kind of lose track. I'm like, this is happening at the very beginning. Otherwise, I'll lose track, as I often do. But so Mindy is back, and we're so excited to have you here, Mindy. We've missed you over the last several weeks, and we're excited to have you back. So thank you. We are so looking forward to the market update. And we've had a couple of folks come in, and they haven't really brought us as much inventory as we were hoping that you would bring us. So we'll have to see how that looks today. Thank you for being here.
Absolutely. I'm excited.
Yeah. And then Mr. Dan White of Dan White Loans at Fairway Independent Mortgage. Dan, thank you for being here. And we are always excited to hear what's happening in the mortgage world. We know how much those little changes can impact the ability for people to buy or sell their homes at the prices that they're looking for. So we are always excited and looking forward to your insight. So thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Glad to be here.
And then Miss Sharon Terhune, the Vice President of Sales for Fidelity National Title. Sharon, who you last saw on stage at Inman, and well, maybe you last saw us sneaking out.
It was so special. I just wish more people showed up to watch us, but other than that, it was great.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but Sharon and I had such a great experience, and we had so many amazing conversations and things that we bring back for our partners on helping them grow and connect in their business. So we're excited to share that with you. Not just through that video that we played the last couple of weeks, but in conversations with our partners as well. So, but Sharon, thank you as always for being part of this.
Of course.
And then Mr. Ty Lusk is our special guest this week. Mr. Ty Lusk is with the Kenny Klaus team, and I had the good fortune of spending some time with Ty yesterday as we were out and about, and we had a speaker in town that Ty and I and Sharon and I guess everybody else kind of really knows Cody Gibson, and we all had some great takeaways from Cody yesterday, and so Ty, we really I kind of touted that today we were going to kind of talk to you about everything, and so just a small little thing, but And I know that you and Mindy both do an amazing job of looking out for your buyers and your sellers, and and both of you have really kind of embraced some out of the box thinking when it comes to how to solve the problem of helping your people get into the home or getting the best price for their home and being able to meet other parts of their lives. So can you give us some insight into some of the things that you and the Klaus team are doing to make all of that come together for your partners and your clients?
Yeah, happy to help. We feel like we really entered the last few years into the new age of real estate. Things were done the same for 50 or 60 years. My grandfather and great grandmother back in Texas were brokers, and they did the same way then as it was done up to just a few years ago. And now the public, and they need choices. They want options. They want ease. They want to push a button and be done with it. So we've adapted. And what that's led to is some really strategic partnerships and piloting some programs that are now available for both buyers and sellers, such as we've got cash backed offers now. So we have, investors with money they'll go ahead and just buy the house for you. You pick it out, and then you get a loan and buy it from them. That's simple. If you've got a house to sell, then you move into the new house. We'll put your other house on the market. Simple, easy. What we really figured out is that people want that easy button in many, many cases. And we were always under the impression that it was always about the highest price or the most money, when maybe that is sometimes still the case. But we've been surprised to see how much convenience matters over equity for a lot of consumers, and then how to give them an unfair advantage in a buyer, in a buyer's perspective, the seller's market, meaning that if you're going to have to compete against 5 or 10 other people to buy a home and you've got financing contingency, what does it do to strengthen your offer? We can say, look, we got cash, we'll back you with it, and we'll make a cash offer on your behalf, and then you just buy it from us with no competition. And this is the new way that real estate is being done in many cases. So what we've decided to do is to look at all the options for both sellers and buyers. And now we probably have a solution for most people, depending on what their needs are. And of course, the consultation helps us determine which is the best match between client and program, because we got a bunch of them. And the last thing we want to do is confuse the situation even more. We want to simplify it. So those are a couple of things we've done to really change the way real estate is done and provide a better, cleaner, and easier experience for the consumer, which is what they've told us they want.
Yeah, and I think that it's important, and this helps me to kind of pivot to the next part of our conversation I was looking to talk about was, we've really seen a lot with these iBuyers, right? We've seen, we've seen some ups and downs, and we've seen where, we were all part of this business when Open Door showed up here, 7 years ago, and everyone's like, oh my gosh, what's this going to mean? And the reality is that there's still been opportunities for everybody, right? That nobody has gotten shut out of this business as a result of iBuyers coming in there. But we've also learned that might be a really good option for some folks, right? That might be. Now, I think everybody on the screen right now is a very big proponent for making sure that if you're working with one of those, you can still be represented. You can still have an agent to help you through that process and make sure that you understand what all of the opportunities are instead of just looking at the one commercial you saw. But with now the exit of one of the largest iBuyers that we've seen from the market, what do you guys see? And Mindy, I'm going to ask this to both you and Ty. What do you guys see that meaning for your clients?
I think a couple of things, and I think one of the things that you hit on in what you were saying was the representation of the client is in part representing them in maybe a solution that they think that they've already chosen, like in the case that you were mentioning, being in negotiations with Zillow, for example. But really what the representation is for is kind of in what Ty hit on, which is that initial consultation. Because when you as a consumer presented with an option, and Ty alone just referenced, right, several different ways that you could sell your home and get into a new property, it's really hard to evaluate which solution is going to be the best for you without engaging a professional. So the example that I use is, I think if I were to interview folks for repairing my car, for example, I wouldn't really even know the right questions to ask because I myself am not a mechanic. So I'm going to ask things like, are you trustworthy? Do you have references of people I can talk to? What's your service like, right? Those are common questions that I can ask. But as far as their capabilities around actually taking care of my problem and how proficient they are, I am not the expert in that area, so it's going to be difficult for me to evaluate their expertise. So I akin that to the relationship between a real estate agent and all of the solutions that you have available to you, because it's our knowledge and expertise that can look at all of the solutions, and then based on what you've told us that you're trying to achieve, we can present you with the options that seem to be a good fit. And then throughout the process can really vet the communication and the options and the things that the person on the other side, whether it's an iBuyer, an individual investor, or your neighbor down the street, and determine what kind of paths that you have available to you. So I think that is a first and foremost very important piece. The exit of Zillow from the iBuying, if you will, portion of their business, one, we have to remember that was only one piece of the business model that they had, and it was actually their newest piece of their business model. Their primary business model has always been based on their relationship with real estate agents directly as an ad source, if you will, for consumers. So consumers use Zillow as a way to find properties, and then their consumer information is then really sold to real estate agents in an effort for them to gain direct relationship and client relationships with the community. So over the last couple of years, I think Zillow has introduced some direct to consumer models. And in some ways, we took great advantage of those for our clients. We had many clients who sold to Zillow at a high dollar amount. We also had many buyers, and I think this is part of what you're alluding to, who were challenged because they were out trying to make offers, and companies like Zillow were buying the properties with cash and at well over fair market value. And so it created a challenge for our buyers who were trying to get into an already very low inventory market. So the exiting of them from the market certainly has the potential to create opportunities for buyers with one less large buyer, if you will, from our marketplace. I do anticipate they'll probably come out with some other direct to consumer opportunity. But I think what everyone really needs to take away from this is that the reason there are so many options right now is because there really is so much opportunity within the market from a financial perspective. And companies would not be continuing to create solutions and taking them to the Arizona real estate market if there wasn't money to be made by our own Arizona buyers and sellers. And so I really think that's the message that our clients out there need to hear. If all of these big businesses want to play in this space, that means that there is some opportunity here. So any way that you can take advantage of that, it's a great time to be able to explore that.
Yeah.
And then the flip side, well, the flip side people don't think about is, I've got a close friend who lost her job at Zillow last week. She was laid off. She got, a little bit of a severance package. Most of her wealth was in Zillow stock. Well, she just lost, a lot of that. So like you think about the human factor, and like Cody had a good point yesterday, like at what point does somebody have to lose for us to win? It's kind of a sad scenario essentially. Yeah. Now the opportunity that you talked about is that, now, there's one less iBuyer essentially that the consumer's got to compete with. And, on our team, we've got, I think 3 currently under contract, buyers under contract on Zillow properties. And the pricing's not too bad. I mean, they're getting decent deals. Now, if you can get communication, that's another issue that we don't have to talk about today. But, with their limited staff, they've laid off a ton of people. So the thousands of homes they have under contract now, and we just have a few of them, it's a little bit challenging getting timely responses or getting, the escrow officers are about to get laid off. So their title company is about to take a massive hit. So these are all job losses that we have to consider as well. It wasn't this a hurrah thing for real estate. It was a human loss, and so I think that people who celebrated that, I kind of push back on that celebration. I think it was really kind of a sad situation. However, the opportunity, less company.
I think anytime there is a job loss, regardless of the industry, we should.
Yeah, we kind of have some feedback going on there. Yeah, we kind of.
Maybe see what happens if you guys mute. Let's see. Is that better?
Yeah,
I think we got it. All I was saying is that I just think anytime that there's a job loss, regardless of the industry, the appropriate way to show up is to be supportive of the community. And I think Ty's right. I think people that celebrated what happened is awful, right? I mean, it's an awful time of year to lose your job, and these are all people. And I think it is a bit of a cautionary tale, not so much for real estate agents, but kind of back to our consumers. They see these, big advertisements for models, right, of how to buy or sell houses. And they are with large companies who are not local here to the Valley, as similar to Ty and the Kenny Klaus team, is well rooted in the area, and the Amy Jones group certainly well rooted in the area. The difference is that your transaction and your relationship with the company, if you will, is at risk should the company choose to go in a different direction based on what's best for them, their shareholders, their funders, whoever that might be. And so I do think there's a bit of a cautionary tale for people who want to buy a home and may see a solution. So they have a real estate agent to buy, and yet they say, but I'll just sell my home to one of these large companies that I saw online because they made it sound really easy. I think they need to have some pause and some concern and understanding that when you work with someone who's local, even if they're providing a similar service like Ty is talking about that the Kenny Klaus team has, the difference is you have a local individual one-on-one relationship with a real estate agent who's going to navigate you through both of those processes, and the way that they represent you does not get impacted based on a corporate mentality about where and when they're spending their money.
Yeah, and I think that, and just you guys are, make sure you unmute before, because I muted everybody because of that feedback. But yeah, so I think you're spot on that. You know, it's funny because like everybody is in different situations, right? Not you know, it's so easy. And when we've seen these iBuyer models come out, one of the reasons that Arizona has been such a hotbed for it is so many of our houses are the same, right? I think in my neighborhood there's like 5 different floor plans, and so you know, and that's how so many of our communities are. So you're able to compare same to same from that perspective. But the human perspective is where you don't have same to same. You know, the person that's got a couple of dogs, you know, that they're trying to get up for showings, and you know, those kind of things are where we run into those human challenges. And that is where that personalized service.
John, we're still getting some feedback. I don't know.
Dan, I think your mic is picking up your speaker. So I'm putting you back on mute.
Okay.
So now you unmute. Hold on. All right. Don't touch anything, Dan. There you go. There we go. All right. So, but I think though those are the areas where we're running into like that need is, right? That need for that human element comes in, because you know all the algorithms and systems for figuring out per square footage, all these things, you know, don't change the fact that you know my kids come home at 2:30 and I need to be able to have a nice home for them to like be able to live and do their thing. So showings at 3 o'clock are a problem, you know, and so, you know, having an agent who can help to guide through those processes is really what's a big win for folks. And counting on, you know, because we've seen with when everything kind of shut down in 2020, you know, we saw all those cancellations come from from a lot of the iBuyers. And now here we are again, where now nobody's getting canceled on existing transactions, although they're all still being carried through on. But I guess what I see as the bright side of this is for the consumers who are out there competing, trying to buy a home, and they're competing with Zillow on what their offer is going to be. Well, they don't have that competition anymore. So there is a better opportunity for the consumer. And especially and one of the things that we talked about yesterday with Cody was that the people who are selling over these next 6 to 8 weeks are serious sellers, right? They want to get their home sold. If they're selling through the holidays, they want to get their home sold, and they're serious sellers. And same thing with the buyers who are looking to get out there. So these are serious buyers as well. So yeah. Did I miss anything that we wanted to make sure we talked on this topic?
One more quick thought on that, if it's okay, is, you know, as Arizona real estate professionals, we really have a huge advantage because all of these investors, they have one product. They have their own product, right? We've got access to most or all of them, and now have the ability to give a menu of options to our clients. So now that's if we embrace it. Now, I realize there are a lot of realtors who are anti-iBuyer, and, you know, they don't want to change. And I think that could be a big problem for agents as we move forward, as they don't adjust, because if we don't bring it up at the kitchen table when we're talking to these people and we leave, what are they going to think? That we don't know? or we don't think it's a good option for them when maybe it is. So I think that adapting, adjusting, and the fact that we really have an unfair advantage because we do have access to all of that, whereas an Open Doors got their offer. OfferPad's got their offer. So I think that that's a huge advantage we have when we embrace it as real estate professionals in Arizona.
And I think if you don't know where to start, if you have been in real estate and it does feel overwhelming, you haven't been synced up either with a brokerage or a team that's been keeping up with what's happening, and you just sort of feel overwhelmed by the need to evolve, but have an interest in continuing to serve people in your community through real estate, I would definitely encourage you to reach out to Ty or to myself. We both have large teams that are working to provide the best consumer experience. We have strong cultures within our own teams, providing a great work opportunity for people that really want to see this career go beyond something that I think most people ever think is possible from a fulfillment perspective. And so if you are struggling with the market, you do know that you want to stay engaged, you're looking for a place that has a strong culture, I think you certainly could reach out to Ty or I. And even if our own teams aren't a good fit for you, or a team isn't the route that you're looking to go to, I think both of us always make time on our calendar to talk to people who are in this industry, whose heart is really in it for the right reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to pivot a little bit, and Dan is resetting to, so he should be joining us back quickly. He's trying to reset, so fix those audio issues there. But I do want to talk. So in the last year, we spent a lot of time in November talking about business planning for the following year. And here we are, in November, and we're already almost halfway through, and we are looking for what 2022 is going to look like. And there's a lot of really good models out there that are showing that things are likely to be really solid for next year. And but I would love to hear from both Mindy and Ty about what you guys are doing with your team to prepare for next year. As you know, like everything we're doing right now is really that first quarter business for next year. So I'd love to hear about what you guys are doing and projecting for 2022.
Yeah, well, it's business planning season, that's for sure. One of the first things we did was we chose this month's book club to be a book called Living Forward. And it's a book about really strategically planning out where you want your life to go. It's funny, I was looking at my notes. I last read it in 2016, and the notes were from July 6, 2016. And I had this idea or a path of where I wanted my life to go. And I'm like, holy cow, like most of the stuff has already happened in 5 years. It was really interesting to see that at the back of the book, just handwritten notes I've made and goals. And so that's one of the first things we did. We use a really cool tool called a GPS. That's the GPS on our phone is like the realtor's best friend because you got to know where you're going. And for us, the GPS stands for 1 goal, 3 priorities to reach that goal, and then 5 strategies for each priority. So the way that we do it at the Klaus team is we look at what your number 1 goal is. And it's for most people, it's an income goal or number of families helped, typically is along those lines. And then the first 2 priorities tend to be your top 2 sources business or lead generation. And then the third priority we've adopted is personal growth. How are we developing as a person? And so we do individual business planning with each of our agents. We take a look at their year-to-date kind of sources of where their business has come from. And we take as a percentage their top 2 sources. And then we focus on those 2. And then under those sources, we talk about 5 things that they can do consistently to increase that source. And then, of course, the third priority being personal development or personal growth. That might look like I want to take X number of days vacation. I want to read X number of books next year. I want to have, 1 or 2 date nights a week with my significant other. I want to have one-on-one time with each kid, 2 hours a week. Whatever it might be that's important for each person, and we really customize that business plan. So for us, it's about being intentional with the books we read, and like Living Forward is our book this time to plan out our future, and then doing one-page business plans. A GPS is what it's called, and it's a really simplistic way to narrow down what are the lead measures I can do that will result in the lag measures or the results that we want to accomplish. So that's how we're doing it here. And each person, each agent on the team, we do one-on-ones and customize their business plan.
Excellent. And Mindy, what about for you and the Amy Jones team?
Yeah, we use similar tools. We had our full day planning session last week. It's something that we actually do twice a year. We do a full day planning session with the team towards the end of the year, and then we do a mid-year review, which is also a full day session. And we always like to incorporate a speaker into that session. And so this year it was really talking about purpose. So we partnered with Allison Greek, who's a coach here in the Southeast Valley, and she came and did some exercises and workshopping with the team around the different buckets in their life that they really want to fulfill through their 2022 goal planning. And so like Ty talked about, the personal component and the professional component, we also make sure that there's the spiritual and that there's the emotional and the relationship building, and really helping them to uncover what is important to them, not just what is their why, but what are the things that really make them feel excited about life. And if they were to sit back and look at themselves next year and all things had gone the way that they wanted them to go, what is the feeling that they would feel? So one of the things that we changed a little bit this year about our goal planning is we're always looking for measurable goals, right? And so Ty talks about the GPS or the 135, where we can put the goals that they have, the activities that they have to get there, and really the financial outcomes for that, so that each week or every other week, when we sit down with them from a coaching perspective, we can say, where are you on this? How many conversations have you had? How far are you to your goal? Very number based, right? And so we do that as well. But this year we really talked about gauging your success in addition to your numbers based on your emotions. How do you feel? Right? And this is the idea of redefining success, because I think, and specifically for us, for a lot of women, you can check all the boxes, right, and still not be happy. And so we talked a lot about how you feel when you're successful and what do you have to do to get to that feeling. And so very similar model. We had the speaker come in. We did our vision boards. So everybody completed a vision board. We focused their 135 or their GPS, if you will, on leads, listing, and leverage. And so for us, that means, who are you going to talk to, right? Where are you going to find those people to talk to? What skills do you need to develop so that when you talk with them, you're able to be a consultant and to help them at the highest level? And then the third piece is that leverage. What tools or systems do we have as a team that you can better leverage to make you a stronger agent in 2022? And just real quick, from a book recommendations piece, I did some speaking last week on talking about building a community brand. And the three that I shared, and Ty, thank you for that one, because I haven't read that one. And I know I always get some from Dawn and Sharon too. I shared Power of Moments with my team, which I got from Dawn. But the three that I shared were Grit, Untamed, and Dare to Lead. And so Grit is really about the power of getting back up, because we know that getting knocked down is inevitable. Untamed is about speaking your truth in spite of fear. And Dare to Lead is about leading while being vulnerable. And so these three I found have been very powerful to me. I've read them at different stages in my life and career. Like Ty said, the last one he had read, right, several years ago. And those books you can really get something different out of each time. So those are just three that I would throw into your mix as you're getting ready for next year.
Glad you like Power of Moments. I still use that book as an example all the time. So it's a great one. I'm actually going to put Sharon on the spot here a little bit, because Sharon's about to put our team, including me, through the business planning process. So Sharon, what things are you looking for the business planning within our team, and what should I expect to be preparing for?
Well, I kind of like surprising you. That's like half the fun. What are you talking about? Like, we're going to have lots of surprises tomorrow at our quarterly boot camp. But goal setting, yes, we set our goals in December for January. Expectations is we're always going up. I mean, and the team knows that. We very rarely will go down in a goal. And if we came close and didn't, exceed our goal from last year, then, we might, if it's, as long as it's, reasonable to keep it where it's at, we'll try to keep it where it's at. But honestly, we generally go up, what, Don, about, I think your goal went up at least 15%.
I think
And
last
you're
year
about
I
ready
pushed my goal up
and you're going to beat your goal
25%.
this month.
Yeah. This month I'm making my goal for the year, and that was after a 25% increase over last year. But that's
25%.
enough.
Okay. So generally they're somewhere between 15 and 25%. But honestly, 15 is a fair increase based on the numbers that this team is doing. But then you have the go-getters like Don that decide that they want to throw a crazy number out there, and I always welcome it. It's up to them. I don't push it. I only push them if they don't do it. And it looks like I get dinner bought for me from one of our managers too, because when we did goal setting with our branches last year, I said
dinner wager.
a particular person, I'm not mentioning any names, we're on social media, but there might have been a sandbag that happened and they got away with it. And others let them get away with it. And I said, okay. I said, well, you and I are just going to place our own personal bet. I'm going to put it on my calendar that if you go $1 over this in revenue, you owe me dinner. This particular manager did come up to me yesterday at a meeting and said, I might owe you dinner. I said, yep, you do. You owe me dinner. Thank you.
As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I'm part of the owing you dinner part because I was part of that goal setting.
You are. Yep. And I said, she goes, okay, when do you want to go to Taco Bell? I'm like, I don't eat Taco Bell. Just joking. We'll put something. I said, okay, yeah. So no, goals, you got to write goals down. You have to set goals, write them down, look at them. We look at our goals constantly. When I'm coaching with the team on a monthly basis, we sit down, their goals are right there on the paper. We see where they're at. We talk about the percentage of their goal that they are, what they need to get to that goal, and reach it by the end of the year. And our team is on track. Many of them, most of them will probably exceed goals this year. And others will come very close if they didn't. So it's pretty exciting. Yeah. And we use the GPS just like Ty. Ty was talking about the GPS. We do the GPS. I love the GPS. I love it because it really breaks things down and it gives you the big picture and breaks it down into tiny pieces. And I don't think any goal you could ever go after, you should ever go after, like just trying to, it needs to be broken down. That way it's less daunting and you can actually have an opportunity to exceed it. So
agreed. So Mr. White, tell us about how your goals are looking for next year and how you're going about setting them as well. You had to know this was coming as I was making my way over to you.
Yeah, you gave me plenty of time, and now hopefully we don't have any feedback. So
no, way better. Yeah.
So anyway, so the goals portion of it, and I know Ty, I've been in your office before. I know you use scoreboards a lot. We use scoreboards a lot because everybody in there, we have 3 cubes out here. They have scoreboards in their cubes. I pretty much look at it every day. So there's a lot of concepts that are coming together between the 3 or 4 of you that have talked about this. Intentionality is just huge. I know Ty and I know Mindy, we've had this conversation about, what do you want to accomplish? And is that in front of you every day? I kind of like the KPI thing, key performance indicators. I only like to look at a couple of them. If you have 30 of them you're looking at, there's no way you can manage that. So I like to look at 3 or 4 and make sure that we're trending and then make sure that we're converting on those goals pretty much on a daily basis. I like to look at it. So I'll look at it every morning. I'll look at our scoreboards. We'll all look at it together in a weekly meeting. So that's kind of the way we go about it. And, last year in the mortgage space, especially because we had so much refinance business in 2020, we set a record number. We're going to beat it this year. And idea is I've got a long way to go, and I'm not a rookie anymore. But I feel more invigorated when I went through kind of the crash and came out of it, and then decided, you know what, I'm underachieving, and I'm going to go ahead and use goals and self-development to try to better myself. And so just seeing some examples around me, especially in the real estate community, Mindy, working with you for a long time, has really been an inspiration. And Sharon, I know you've done this for years. And, I know you've done a lot of different types of training. Those things, I think you can draw from others and see what they're doing, and look at those things and how you adapt them to your team. We have a big fun quotient on my team. If you've ever had the displeasure of watching my TikToks, I think you understand that. But at the end of the day, it's fun. And so I went through a period of time in a 26-year career where I wasn't having a lot of fun. We were in the middle of a real estate crash, and it just wasn't a lot of joy. And then I realized if we could get back to that, we're going to produce at a higher level. So I think that you have to talk about goals, but you have to talk about comfortable ways that people can meet the goals and how they can play to their strengths and how they can have fun doing it. And hitting your goals is fun. It's a lot more fun to hit your goals than not to. So that's what we focus a lot on that. So,
yeah, I agree. And I'm always excited to kind of put pencil to paper to kind of calculate out what, and that forecast part. And there's times where I'm like, okay, can I really do this? But it really helps to be that driver, right? It really helps to be that thing that I'm paying attention to throughout the year. And so this is a year where I'm fortunate where not only did I significantly increase my goal year over year, I'm also going to surpass it significantly as well. And that feels great, right? And then, and I think it's always, it's funny because, I know you guys all know, but I worked in retail for years, and we always try to remind our teams in retail about what's happening, right? What's the experience that somebody's having. And so every one of these goals that we're setting are all connected to people, and all connected to people becoming homeowners or selling their homes and fulfilling their dreams and fulfilling their own personal. And how awesome is that, right? How awesome is it that we get to be a part of that, and we get to be the part that is helping them plan for bigger and getting more connected and fulfilling what they want. So I love it, and I love being a part of all these goals with all of you, and it's very fulfilling for me.
If I can add one thing, Just Cause was the latest book by Simon Sinek. If you haven't read that, and that one is really big for me. It's on our signature block. We all have it in our table, and it just gives us a reason. People will fight harder for a cause than even a why.
I'm going to look that one up because I like him as an author.
Yeah, he's really great. He's made
Sounds like I'm feeling like a book coming on in Bookie up here.
That last book that you gave us, a 6,000-page book, we're only about a quarter of the way through so far, Sharon.
That is a true statement, except you're only reading a chapter that's 7 pages every month, so it's all good.
I know, right? That's the nice thing.
But you know what the other great part about the goals, guys, and I know everybody here knows this, everybody on this call is incentivized from sales, right? We're salespeople. So, the best way to give yourself a raise is obviously give yourself a raise, go get more sales, right? So setting lofty goals is great because, you want to be able to, you surprise yourself and beat them, right? And not crazy that there's no way you're going to do it, but you do want to think big. You don't want to, you think your head, whatever you put down, you're going to probably do, or come close to. Let's just put it that way.
And I do want to add one thing that we added to our programming this year. We added this gratitude journal. And you don't have to get this exact same one, but what I really liked about this as I was preparing for our team session and kind of figuring out what additional tools I could give them and provide to them during that training. A lot of times when we talk about gratitude, we just ask the same question. What are you grateful for today? Like, what do you want to show gratitude for today? And we do that a lot on our team huddles. But sometimes you end up with really surface level answers just because we do take so much for granted without realizing it. So you'll say things like, I'm grateful for my family, I'm grateful for my income, I'm grateful for my home, which of course, these are huge things that we are grateful for. But what I love about this gratitude journal is there are very specific prompts throughout it, and it's about creating a 66-day habit. And so we've implemented this on our team. And again, I run a team of type A personalities. So we talk a lot about the perfectionist problem, which is kind of an all or nothing, right? If you don't have time to do the entire exercise in the book, you don't do it at all. And then you just don't pick up the book anymore because you missed a day and now you've got an empty day. And so you, right? It's like leave the perfectionism at the door, right? Show up in the ways that you're able to show up. But I have seen already several times that my team has referenced this gratitude journal or the gratitude habit just in the last week. And it's been so powerful for me to see the impact that gratitude can make on your journey. So that's just one other piece that I would add in that I hope that you gain from this morning. There's systems, there's tools, there's checking in with yourself, there's being a part of the right team, there's being in business with the right people. And I really think there has to be a practice of gratitude.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, you guys, thank you so much for, like, I do feel like we talk about everything. And so I feel like we have fulfilled that commitment this morning. Thank you for that, Ty. For being our everything guinea pig today. So okay, well let's pivot over to Mr. White and let's talk about money. And so Dan, how are things looking out there in the financial industry? How are loans coming along? And I know we mentioned that we would definitely like to talk about VA loans a little bit as well, and what kind of things are available around that.
Sure. So first, I'll just give you a quick synopsis on the market. Yesterday, we saw rates move up fairly significantly. The market got much worse yesterday. There was just quite a bit of inflation data that came out, and inflation affects interest rates pretty much first. So when we saw consumer price index information go, way up, then you're going to see that reflected almost immediately in interest rates. And it was kind of watching that fast ticker just kind of go crazy yesterday. So that, has been expected for a long time. And I think what we're seeing is we've busted out of a range, and we're going to see interest rates move up here. It's not crazy. It's about 1/8 to 1/4% yesterday. So it's not something that should prevent deals from happening or prevent someone from buying. That's the whole thing. That the media, again, loves to say, oh, interest rates are going up because everyone's going to pay attention, especially if they're in the middle of the home buying process. But the average payment's going to go in our market, it's going to go up about $20. So, I mean, you can hardly buy your kids McDonald's for that. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's not going to drastically affect our market. But it's important to know because people are seeing it and hearing it on the news, and your phone starts to go crazy if you're in my line of work. So that's basically what we're seeing. We're going to see that happen, I think, over the next couple of weeks, because turn on CNBC in the morning like I do, and all you're going to hear is inflation. And they're going to talk about it left and right. So that's interest rates. So keep an eye out on it. I don't expect anything to go crazy. Neither does the Mortgage Bankers Association or the Brokers Association. So we're probably not going to see things go absolutely haywire. So take a breath. That's my advice. And then, in respect to my deceased father, and today is Veterans Day, so that flag sits on my desk just in remembrance of all of our veterans, all of our soldiers, especially those deployed right now who are in harm's way. And when they come home, we would certainly love them to be able to purchase a home, right? They served our country. They tend to put in very valid offers. Most VA loans have average FICO scores of that of conventional loans. They also, our VA loans are some of the most flexible loans out there. They're flexible with income, They're also flexible with appraisals. So how does that help you if you're a listing agent? And if you're a listing agent, please understand this. And I'll have you guys chime in on this as well. VA loans are in many ways easier than conventional loans to close. They're not harder. They're not harder. The guidelines basically mirror conventional guidelines with exceptions to make things typically easier on a veteran. And appraisals are done by the same appraisers who do conventional and jumbo appraisals and FHA appraisals. They're not, it's not a separate panel of old guys over here coming out to appraise your property. And no offense to old guys, I'm one of them. So at the end of the day, there is such a misperception about this. VA, I just have one up north where the appraisal came in $30,000 low. The VA appraiser called the agents. They issue what's called a Tidewater protocol, which means that the agent actually gets an opportunity to discuss with the appraiser their valuation and how they're coming in low, and be able to offer feedback or additional comps to support the original listing price or the accepted contract price. So what other appraisal offers you that opportunity? The answer, none. So it gives you an opportunity to actually meet that appraised value. And in this market, that's incredibly important. Okay. The value didn't come all the way up, but it did save the seller, because the seller was willing to sell at appraised value. It did save the seller about 10 grand. So if you're a listing agent, forget the perceptions. There's no more property conditions on a VA loan than there are on a conventional loan or FHA loan. So just forget all of that. We do VA manufactured. There are many, which we've had a few recently. There's many advantages to taking that contract, and you're helping out a veteran. So absolutely. I'm going to get off my soapbox now.
Love it, Dan. No, Dan on his soapbox is always a fun thing, but we do appreciate it, Dan. Thank you, and and agreed. So, thank you for your update. Appreciate it. Thank you for your insight into your business planning as well, and the way you guys are goal setting. Mindy, what do we have happening with the market? How's inventory looking out there?
Yeah, I'll give you guys an idea of what we're seeing, but I do want to just take a moment to thank Dan for sharing his story and also for helping our veterans out there. My parents have a VA loan. My stepdad, Lloyd, served. My uncle, Simon, served. My grandpa, Mac, on Amy's side, served. So we have very close ties. Several people on our team have family members who are or who have served directly. And so not only do we feel it from our clients, but also from a personal perspective, and do want to do everything that we can to support our veterans out there. And there are absolutely programs. And Dan's right. We do a lot of educating our sellers about what the different programs mean. And as long as the buyer is a solid buyer, that's really what matters to our sellers. And so we absolutely go through the education for them of what the different loan types mean. And then there are the folks out there who, like Dan said, they just want to help a veteran. And so you can never underestimate as a buyer what's going to be important to a seller when they're making their decisions about what offers they go with and at what price points, right, or terms they go with those offers. So always be putting your best foot forward. And thank you so much to all of those that have served out there. The inventory, unfortunately, is probably not the news that you want to hear, but I like to keep things in perspective when it comes to numbers, because it's very easy to make comments week over week, like we've got less inventory or more inventory. But when we look at the numbers, our inventory has really been unchanged over the last couple of months. We've seen it pop up a little bit. We've seen it go down a little bit. And then I think I gave this description before of like those fair rides that as they start to slow down, they swing from side to side until you finally stop at the bottom. And that's really what we've been doing. Although the bottom for us, balance, we are so far away from what you would call a balanced market. We have less than 8,000 listings available on the market today. In order to be in a true balanced market, which means no appreciation in prices or very, very little appreciation, we would need to have 25,000 to 30,000 homes on the market. And so we're so far away from that we seem to be creating our new balance, which is sitting only right around 8,000 homes on the market. And when you only have 8,000 homes on the market, you can expect continued appreciation for the foreseeable future. We're now sitting at 26% annual appreciation. That certainly is not a sustainable number. And there will be market conditions that continue to evolve over the next year that will ensure that that number slows down significantly. Maybe we hit somewhere between 7 and 12% appreciation next year, which is certainly no market crash. I heard a great quote this past week that said, hopefully buyers and sellers can see that the passing of the frenzy, right? What we saw in February, March, April, May, even into June of this year was a frenzy. And that was truly being caused by only 2,500 to 3,000 homes available for a population of nearly 6 million people, right? So the quote was, hopefully people can see that the passing of the frenzy does not equate to the top of the market. So I think what's happened over the last couple of months is as the market has started to come more into balance, which again, for us is 8,000 homes on the market when we need 25 to 30,000, people have been concerned that that has also meant the top of the market. So delineating between a frenzy and the top of the market will be important. If you look at the numbers, prices have actually gone up 4% over the last month. So we are not yet in a place where we are going to start to see 0% appreciation. I think the holidays are continuing to be a tight time for inventory. It's not typically our peak season for when people put their houses on the market. So we wouldn't expect anything different, right? It's normal seasonality at play. And so I think we're going to see an increase in inventory come January. Dawn, you asked about some kind of predictions for next year. I do think we'll start to see an increase in inventory coming after the first of the year, but I don't think it's going to be coming from these big iBuying companies. I think much of Zillow's inventory will get sold in bulk and often to people who are looking to put it on the rental market. And so we may not ever see that come back, right, from a resale perspective, if you will. But there have been some really great indicators come out over the last month here in Arizona that says, look, we're probably going to be teetering around this high appreciation point for quite some time, which means if you're looking to get into the market and you're waiting for some kind of tipping point or falling off the market point, we already have had the tipping point from the frenzy, right? And so now is the time to take advantage, as Ty mentioned, of all of these options that continue to flood the Arizona real estate market because there is still opportunity for people. And so a couple of big ones for us is the lending practices opening up, right? The conventional loan limit getting increased. That was a big one for us. We continue to rank in the top 10 states for population growth just due to domestic migration, also a big plus for us. And the Arizona Department of Economic Opportunity report came out in October that says unemployment claims have dropped to pre-pandemic levels. So while we certainly know there's some inequity around the opportunity in the job market, we're seeing W-2 employee incomes up over 3% year over year. So we are living in a thriving community. We are going to continue to have low inventory. Builders simply cannot keep up with the demand, and so they are unable to build it for us. And while we watch things like interest rates going up and affordability indexes going down and the potential for slower household formation, these other indicators really lend themselves to a continuous thriving real estate market in the Valley that if you have the opportunity to engage in, we certainly want to help you do that. And I think there's always a need to mention the families that are going to be challenged with the market from an affordability perspective. And it is our responsibility, both in the real estate industry and in the community, to ensure that we're supporting the nonprofit organizations that are helping those families who cannot make ends meet and who are challenged by a market that has risen by 26% year over year. So I know everyone on this call is already dedicated to serving through real estate and community, but that would just be my ask to everybody that's watching today too.
Excellent. Mindy, thank you so much. And I appreciate all of you. As we are wrapping up, I want to make sure I put this back on the screen for our event 1 week from today, the Women in Leadership Real Estate Edition. Dan White, thank you for your help in supporting this amazing event. Mindy and Sharon, you guys are going to do an amazing job bringing the information out with our panelists. So thank you guys for that. And Ty, I just thank you for everything you're always doing and being a part of our world and such a positive, consumer focused individual as well. So thank you for all you're doing as well.
It's an honor.
So,
appreciate it.
well, thank you. So okay. Well, we will see you back with our panel come December 2nd, I believe is the date. But in the meantime, we will be doing some Facebook Lives from the Women in Leadership event next week. And hope everybody has an amazing Thanksgiving. And we look forward to seeing everybody soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank
See you later.
Bye-bye.